And welcome everybody here to Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we get ready for knockout qualifying for race number 3 of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series. 12 drivers will be battling for the final 7 spots in this week's starting grid. And we have 3 new faces down here that are going to be trying to qualify their way in. One of them just headed on track. That is the 11 of Rocco Twyman. A poor showing at Daytona and then a bad run last week at Rockingham, UK has put Rocco Twyman's Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota entry outside the top 35 in points. And now in order to make his 3rd straight start, he has to qualify his way in on speed. We'll see how he does here. He's not the only JGR machine that is down here in this session. His teammate is also down here. We'll document him in just a moment. Sam McMillan still trying to make his first start. His teammate, Daniel Bouchard, made his first start last week at Rockingham, UK, had a solid run, and as a consequence, moved his way up into the top 35 in points. 3 drivers moved themselves into the top 35 last week. Daniel Bouchard, Tristan Folks, and Cody Lamas. As a result, Rocco Twyman, Jeremy Jones, and Dylan Poteet are in this knockout qualifying session. There's Seth Cole running the Dreamfall Chapters Chevrolet for this race, and he did not qualify last week for Rockingham, UK, trying to qualify this week. Dallas McIntosh also did not qualify last week for Rockingham, UK. He's trying to make his 2nd start of the season. Stephen Pollard III, he's still looking for his first start of the season as the 32 failed to make both Daytona and Rockingham, UK. There's Sean Galligan. He's made both the races, Daytona and Rockingham, UK, but he had to race his way into the Rockingham, UK race, and his finish wasn't good enough to get him to the top 35 in points, so he has to try again this week. And there's James Richardson. Richardson also qualified his way into last week's Rockingham, UK event, but got caught up in a wreck and ended up finishing poorly and now has to qualify his way in this one. Kyle Matthews as well. Same situation. He's raced both Daytona and Rockingham, UK, but both finishes came up short. He's still outside the top 35 in points. And he has to qualify his way here into this race at Las Vegas. There's Dylan Poteet and Jeremy Jones, the 31 and the 18. They're both trying not to miss the show. They both ran Daytona and Rockingham, UK. They made Rockingham, UK by being top 35 in points, but poor runs last week at Rockingham dropped them outside the top 35 in points. Fastest car on track right now would be Stephen Pollard III. Michael Norman, he has to race his way in. Same situation as Sean Galligan and Kyle Matthews. And Dylan Poteet now is the fastest on track. Right now, the ones that would transfer in would be Poteet, Jeremy Jones, Sean Galligan, Sam McMillan, Michael Norman, Stephen Pollard III, and Austin Gipe. Seth Cole now just jumped up to 7th. That would knock Austin Gipe out of the main event. And now Sean Galligan, top of the leaderboard. James Richardson just jumped up into the top 7 as well. Now Seth Cole would be out. And the session's almost coming to a close here. Right now it's Galligan, Norman, McMillan, Poteet, Richardson, Jeremy Jones, and Stephen Pollard III who would all make the race. Can anyone make a last-minute charge here? Let's see if Kyle Matthews, with being in this draft, if he can jump up into the top 7. Not quite. Richardson just jumped to the top of the board, tied with Dylan Poteet. But those 7 I mentioned are still the 7 in at this current time. This is, I think, going to be maybe their last opportunity here to try and get into the top 7. Is someone going to make a last-minute one? Last-minute run. Let's see. 2, 1, 0. Kyle Matthews to the top of the leaderboard. And he just knocked out Stephen Pollard III. Sean Galligan just got knocked out. Rocco Twyman just moved up to 6th. So now Matthews is in, Poteet's in, Michael Norman, Jeremy Jones, Sam McMillan, Rocco Twyman, and James Richardson. Galligan will get knocked out, so will Stephen Pollard III. And I think that's it. I think that's going to be it for the session. Sam McMillan will make his very first Hersheys Cup Series start in the main event here at Las Vegas. Only time will tell if he can utilize it to get himself into the top 35 in points. And how about Kyle Matthews? 28.421. The fastest lap here in this session. And there you go. Session's complete. The 7 drivers to transfer will be Kyle Matthews, Dylan Poteet, Michael Norman, Jeremy Jones, Sam McMillan, Rocco Twyman, and James Richardson. Drivers that failed to make the race will be Sean Galligan. So Sean Galligan will not be going 3 for 3 in 3 straight starts. Stephen Pollard III, Seth Cole, Austin Gipe, and Dallas McIntosh will all miss the show as well. Pollard and Gipe still looking for their first starts of the season. So now it's time that we have our 42-car field to head to the points-paying race here, the main event at Las Vegas. Don't go away. The third race of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series is live from the home of the Neon Garage. Welcome everybody here to Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we get ready for 41 laps of action-packed mile-and-a-half racing. This is going to be a very interesting race that could come down to fuel strategy, because this kind of a track a lot of oftentimes goes into long green flag runs. And with that being said, these drivers are going to have to concentrate more on when they're going to come to pit road, more on that than probably avoiding wrecks. But, you know, Las Vegas always surprises us whenever we come here, and we're getting ready to see what kind of a show they're going to put on for the jam-packed stands here today. Dylan Poteet had to actually race his way into today's event. As you saw, he ended up qualifying in via the knockout qualifying session. He'll start the number 31 Rude Chevrolet for Tweenix Racing on the pole position. Alongside of him is the Audi of Anthony McCrory, who had a solid outing last week at Rockingham, UK. He's trying to get Audi their first win of the season in the Dream Falls Audi RS4. Seth Cole was unable to get his Dreamfall chapter sponsored machine into this race, and so Anthony McCurry at least will be representing the game in today's event. Let's take you through the field here, as I gotta get to the right camera angle. Here we go. We already gave you the front row. Michael Norman is another driver who had to qualify his way into this race. He will roll off from the 3rd position, and then you've got Noah Cars in 4th. 5th place will be James Richardson, rocking the new Advocare pink paint scheme this week, alongside of John Arndt, who fell to 6th of the point standings after last week, a hardship run. Dylan Young will line up in 7th place in the Dodge Dart, alongside of Jessica Shelton in the Reese's Peanut Butter Pumpkins sponsorship for her O2 this week. And then completing your top 10 is going to be Pichu London, and then the other Dodge Dart of JT Bryant. Here's the rest of your starting lineup for this race. There is one news story coming into today's race that we do have to document. The number 15 of Tim Walsh has moved from a Toyota to a Chevrolet and is now a teammate to the 51 of Austin LaPlante. So you'll see him, I think he's actually starting in the 41st position. You'll see the number 15 Peak Chevrolet making its debut here in this season. And there he is, lining up alongside of Benjamin Miles in the 25. Without further ado, let's go down trackside now and get the command to fire up these engines.
Drivers, start your engines!
Kind of sound like Michael Buffer giving the command to fire him up. 5 drivers failed to make this race, as you saw in the knockout qualifying session, including Seth Cole, Sean Galligan, Dallas McIntosh, Stephen Pollard III, and Austin Gipe. The point stands coming into this race. Last week's winner, Jake Baskinger, will be trying to extend his points lead here today, as he is the points leader after the win at Rockingham, UK. He holds an 11-point advantage over Ryan Madden. JT Bryant, he's third in the point standings. Fourth place, Mason Powers. Fifth place would be Charles Sanford. Sixth would be John Arndt. Seventh place, William Brock. Eighth in the standings right now coming to this race would be Mason Wood in the 14. Joshua Circuli in the 24 is ninth. And completing the top 10 in points is Joshua Lee in the 5. If the chase were to begin now, those drivers would make it in. Right now, wildcard spot number 1 is currently held by our Daytona 500 winner, Ryan Acosta, who is currently outside the top 10 in points in 13th. So here we go. Who's going to make a case for themselves to possibly be in the chase this season? Keep in mind, we're not doing the 16 driver win and you're in system. We're doing 10 drivers that finish top 10 in points and 2 wild card spots for drivers outside the top 10 with wins. But here we go. Dylan Poteet, Anthony McCrory. They'll get us underway. We're green flag racing here today at Las Vegas. Noah Carr's jumped up high. Michael Norman's going to jump down low though, and he's going to try and go for the lead right out of the gate. James Richardson, he had to qualify his way in the knockout qualifying session earlier today. And now he's going to try and go for the top position off Michael Norman. Oh, couple cars there. Get 2 tires down on the apron. That was the 44 of Mason Powers, the 09 of Kyle Matthews. And Powers is going to use the apron. He's through the grass is the 44. Brings it back up on track safely. Well, they're allowed to use the apron, but he went all the way into the grass area. And somehow he's still running up just outside the top 10 right now, trying to get by Joshua Circuli now in the 22 or 27 rather. As the battle's off for second, Dylan Young trying to take that away from Michael Norman as James Richardson is out to a commanding lead right now. Pichu London now going to try and take the third position away from Michael Norman. And now he'll take that, and John Arndt now looks for fourth. Rocco Twyman there in the 11. Whoa! 11 cars stepped way out there. I don't know if he might have got some bumper grab off the back of the 24 or what, but his car just shot to the left. And he's going to lose a couple of spots as a result. He lost one to Dylan Poteet. He's about to now maybe lose one to JT Bryant. So far, though, as I was somewhat suspecting, we are still clean and green. And so these drivers are probably going to have to start settling into a long green flag run and planning when they're going to have to pit. They cannot make it the full 41 laps on one tank of fuel. They're going to have to pit sometime. Battle for third. Michael Norman looking to the inside of Pichu London. He lost a couple of spots after getting stuck up on the high side, which does get a good run off the corner, but isn't exactly the best line to be in the entrance of turns 1 or 3. And now he'll move back into the third position. Good battle back here with Pichu London, John Arndt, and Dylan Poteet. But the man of the hour right now that's loving all this battling going on behind him is James Richardson. And like I said, James Richardson had to race his way into this event. He's outside the top 35 in points. A victory today would definitely move him into the top 35 in the standings, and he wouldn't have to worry about missing out on next week's event, which next week we're heading to Atlanta. Dylan Young, though, I gotta say, seeing him in his past career in NNSCRA competition, he is very, very good at these mile-and-a-half tracks. Michael Norman is as well. Let's jump back, see if we can find our points leader coming into this race. Last week's winner at Rockingham, UK, Jake Baskinger. There he is. Battling for the 14th position with Mason Powers. Somewhat different sponsorship on the 95 this week. Instead of Thrivent Financial, also Thrivent Builds on both the left and right side of his machine. A little bit of extra gray on his paint scheme. Another car just ahead of him with a different paint scheme. Joshua Circuli, who comes into this race 9th in the point standings. Solid outing for the Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet, as he currently runs in the 13th spot. How about the 88, second in points? Ryan Madden running the Tax Slayer colors on his Chevrolet. He's right behind his teammate Benjamin Miles. And he's mired all the way back in the 36th position. Got quite a few big names back here that are mired back. Trent Dunham, there's Tim Walsh. There's our Daytona 500 winner, Ryan Acosta, way back here as well. And there's Joshua Lee, 10th in the point standings. Just took 41st place away from Tristan Folks. Now, Tristan Folks had a great run last week at Rockingham, UK, which moved him up into the top 35 in points, which meant he didn't have to worry about trying to qualify his way into today's event. However, a poor run here would not be a good thing for the driver of the 17. He could drop back outside the top 35 in points. And I noticed another driver here, debuting driver Sam McMillan, finally making his first Hersheys Cup Series start. And he's all the way back here at 39th. So his quest for getting inside the top 35 in points, not looking good right at the moment. Of course, these drivers could be riding, could be biding their time, and waiting for the opportunity of pit stops and pit strategy to maybe get them up through the field. But there's another driver who comes in running well in the points days. William Brock comes in 7th in points, and he's all the way back here in the 33rd position. Back up to the front, James Richardson now has a new second place driver who will try and run him down. Michael Norman has been able to get around his good buddy Dylan Young. John Arndt moved to 3rd, Pete London moved to 4th, and Austin LaPlante is now up to 5th. A 51 team has come alive. They weren't exactly, top tier competitors. Oh, trouble! John Arndt just spun! He was in the 2nd position! And he saved it! Holy cow, how did he save it? How in the world did he save it? He spun in front of the entire field. We're under caution, but John Arndt somehow saved his machine. And he's going to cross the line still in the 17th position. Holy cow. We just dodged a near miss right there. I think it might have been Michael Norman who helped straighten him out. But my questioning is, who spun him around? Was it Pichu London? I don't know. And the leaders, this may throw all fuel strategy out the window. This could be the money stop right here. Everybody appears they are going to come to pit road. This may be their only caution of the day. A single car spin, which ended up pretty much resulting in nothing. But a car was around, so obviously NNSCRA had to do the safe thing and throw the yellow flag. And the top 5 coming to pit road. Richardson, London, Rocco Twyman's now up to 3rd, Austin LaPlante in 4th, and Michael Norman 5th. Let's go to our pit lane camera here. And we'll see who's going to win off pit road. Well, apparently we can't do it just yet. Twyman pulls into his pit stall. Norman, London. Dylan Pote with the first pit stall. And there's John Arndt, who dodged a bullet. 6th car is about ready to leave pit road. Oh, this is going to be a battle off pit lane for sure. Who's going to win it? It's Richardson. Then it's going to be London. Then I think it was Twyman, LaPlante, and Norman. Wow, look at that off pit road. That was close between Shelton and McCrory. And everybody will complete their service here. Whoa, 3 wide off pit road. As we'll take a look at what put us under the caution for the first time here today at Las Vegas. This was a battle for the 2nd position. John Arndt had just made the move on Michael Norman heading into turn 1. Pichu London thinks about making it 3 wide. And is he going to hook the 24? See where the contact happens. Right there. Oh, okay, so I don't know if Arndt moved up or Norman came down, but they just didn't really give each other much room. And then there goes John Arndt spinning around. He never really touched the wall that hard. And then watch this. Michael Norman, I'm not sure the 3 even made any contact with him, and right in front of Dylan Young, saves the machine, keeps it straight, and everyone does a yeoman's job avoiding that 24. We're going to take it on board with Dylan Young and just see how tremendous that save was with how fast they were going. On board with the 2. Watch this avoidance. Wow. He could have very easily run John Arndt over. Tremendous piece of driving by everybody there. The lights are out atop the pace car. We will go back green on lap 17 of 41. That should give us a total, if my calculations are correct, of 25 laps to go. More than likely they'll be able to make it the entire rest of the way of fuel, so it's pretty much going to come now down to trying to get every piece of track position you can. James Richardson lines up as the leader. Second place is going to be Pichu London. Third, Rocco Twyman. This is a perfect running spot for him as he's trying to make it back into the top 35 in points. Austin LaPlante lines up in 4th. Michael Norman 5th. 6th place, JT Bryant. Pole sitter Dylan Poteet is 7th. Anthony McCurry will be 8th. Jessica Shelton 9th. And your points leader, Jake Baskinger, has moved his way up to the 10th position. In 11th place will be Noah Kars. 12th place, Mason Powers. 13th, Joshua Circuli. In 14th is Chris Dowd. Great run for him as he came in that trouble spot, 35th in points. This may give him a little bit of a cushion between 35th in the standings and himself. Dylan Young, after that on board, we saw a tremendous job of avoiding John Arndt. He'll restart 15th. Jeremy Jones is in 16th for the restart. Kyle Matthews 17th. Daniel Bouchard is 18th. John Arndt, after that tremendous save, lines up 19th. The completion of your top 20 is Keon Eddington. James Richardson ready to get us back underway. It's time for a 25-lap fight to the finish. Green flag back out here at Las Vegas. And London looks to the inside. And looks like he'll have the advantage coming off of turn number 2. New leader, the 21 out of Wood Brothers Racing. How long can he hold it though? And with these drivers now knowing they don't have to go into conservation mode with having to make a green flag pit stop, now these drivers can kind of go for broke. And we may see a lot more aggressive driving here, which means we may not have seen our only caution of the day. Pichu London out in front. Rocco Twyman moves to 2nd. How about JT Bryant up there to 3rd? JT Bryant comes into this race 3rd in the point standings, and he is running better than both Jake Baskinger and Ryan Madden. However, Baskinger is not running too terribly bad himself. He's up now to the 6th position. Don't count Baskinger out to maybe try and go for 2 in a row. He found victory lane last week at Rockingham, UK. He might try again here today at Las Vegas. And Rocco Twyman peaks out of line heading into 3, but he could not get the momentum through the center of the corner. He'll have to stay in line and ride behind Pichu Lundin. He actually loses some ground there. JT Bryant now going to get a challenge from James Richardson for the 3rd spot. Just curious to find out who's turned the fastest lap in this race. We saw in the knockout qualifying session that a drafting partner helps you turn a much better lap. Let's see who it is. Is it anybody up near the front that's turned the fastest lap of the race? It's Austin LaPlante. Turned almost a 30 flat, a 30.024. And Jake Baskinger actually ran the 2nd fastest lap of the race, 30.067. Now we know that Baskinger is running up here at the front, right now scored in the 6th position. Where is LaPlante running right now? He's up close to the top 10 as well. Last time by was scored in the 11th spot. Dylan Poteet had the 3rd fastest turned lap. Battle for the lead may not go away very soon. Rocco Twyman still trying to reel in Pichu London. Rocco Twyman is not only trying to win here today, he's trying to get a good enough finish to move himself back up into the top 35 in points. He got a great run down the back straightaway there. And he might be within striking distance when they come out of 4. No, going to lose a little bit of ground again to Pichu London. JT Bryant actually may take a look for second place heading down here into 1. There he goes. James Richardson still very much in the thick of this. Dominated the first portion of this race and now finds himself mired back and forth after Pichu London got around him on the restart. And Richardson thinking about 3 wide. Not going to be able to do it. Still side by side for second. Rocco Twyman on the outside, JT Bryant on the inside. I think JT's going to get him cleared before they even get into 1. And indeed he will. Dylan Poteet thought about 3 wide, actually got down 2 tires on the apron. That got him loose, and he almost slid up into the points leader, Jake Baskinger. Loses a spot to the 95, loses a spot now to Mason Powers. Here comes Anthony McCurry, Chris Dowd, and Dylan Young. Poteet slipped from 5th back now to 7th. And JT Bryant is on the warpath, looking for the top position from Pichu London. And he got through the center of the corner. Oh, you think he just bumped him? I think he just bumped Pichu London in his left rear. I'm certain there was some contact right there. I think he tried to bump and run. This isn't Bristol. This is Las Vegas, but he tried to bump and run. Well, we know for certain JT Bryant can get to Pichu London's back bumper quite literally. Let's see if he tries that again here in 1. Richardson peels out of line, but Bryant throws the block, and here he goes. Let's see if he can roll through the center of the corner better than London did. He did last lap, and this time, well, not quite as good through the center as he was the previous lap, but he still was right there within striking distance of Pichu London. James Richardson right there as well as JT. Still keeps tabs with London. He could make the move heading into 1 right here at the line. Is he going to step out? There he goes. To the inside, and he's to the left rear. Now he's just got to roll it through the center of the corner and try and clear London off of 2. And he is successful. New leader, JT Bryant. And look at Rocco Twyman going to go 3 wide. But that inside line just doesn't have very good grip heading into 3. Dodge Dart out in front, leading the race at Las Vegas. JT Bryant gets around Pichu London. Now London has to become the hunter rather than the hunted. The 22 and the 21 switch roles, although James Richardson might have something to say about this, as now he's looking all over the back bumper of Pichu London for the second spot. If Young Motorsports had not made the swap over to Dodge Dart for the start of the season, Ford Fusion will be running 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in this race. But as it stands, it's 3 Fords chasing down a Dodge Dart. And here comes Richardson. Oh, I thought he was going to try and make a run at Pichu London for the 2nd position, but it's like he had to bail out of the throttle a little bit more than I expected in turn 1. And now he's going to lose a little bit of touch with the top 2. Jake Baskinger, what a wave of momentum he is running right now. The win last week at Rockingham UK, running 4th here today. And a driver that's got to be breathing a sigh of relief, 2 drivers in fact, would be James Richardson running 3rd. And Chris Dowd currently scored in the 6th position because Richardson, this would probably move him up into the top 35 in points. And Chris Dowd would actually move away from 35th in the standings. Both of them with a guaranteed showing in next week's race in Atlanta. Next time by, it will be 10 laps to go. The field has spread out into single file formation for the most part, so the likelihood of us having a caution flag ending this race is almost slim to none. But it looks like the battle for the lead has not gone away as Pichu London tries reeling JT Bryant back in. James Richardson back up in the thick again. And don't count out potential spoilers there in Jake Baskinger, Rocco Twyman, maybe even as far back as Chris Dowd if these front 3 start racing it up enough. Let's see about those drivers that were struggling at the back that come in running well in the standings. Let's see where they're at. How about 2nd in points Ryan Madden? Has he made up any ground? No, he is not. He's still back in the 36th spot. And there's Charles Sanford, 5th in the point standings. He's mired all the way back in 37th. So not good runs for them. There's 10th in the points. Joshua Lee still back in dead last. Now trying to work his way by the 25 of Benjamin Miles. Those two are not teammates. Miles drives for Hendrick Motorsports. Joshua Lee drives for Lunatic Motorsports. Another driver that we saw was struggling early on was William Brock. He's been able to move his way up at least to the 24th position. And there's Mason Wood right behind him at 25th. Wood comes into this race 8th in points. About the 27 of Joshua Circuli. We saw him up near the front early on in this race. Right now he's running in the 17th position. And there's John Art, who had that tremendous save. He's right now 18th place. Now, that's certainly a far cry from where he was running when he spun out. He was in 2nd place at the time, but I think he'll take an 18th place finish over a DNF, which that wreck could have certainly been for him had everybody not had their wits about them. Art comes into this race 6th in the point standings, so it'll still be a somewhat solid outing for that machine. Back up to the front, though, JT Bryant. Trying to win this thing, but he's got a challenge for the lead. James Richardson is back. Can he make the move here into 3? Turn 3's not had good grip on the inside line, and there you see, still doesn't. Although Richardson did not really lose touch with JT Bryant, so JT Bryant is not out of the woods yet. Pichu London has slipped from 1st back to 3rd in a matter of about 20 laps. And Richardson tries his luck to the inside again, and he's to the left rear, not quite. He almost got there. There goes Chris Dowd to the inside of Rocco Twyman. That's for the 4th position. As Jake Baskinger has slipped back to 7th. He lost a spot to Dowd. He lost a spot to Dylan Poteet. 5 laps to go here at Las Vegas. Can JT Bryant hang on? Can James Richardson, who dominated the first half of this race, work his way up and take the victory? So far, we've had a Chevy and a Ford go to victory lane this season. We're in line for a Dodge Dart, or maybe our 2nd Ford in 2 straight weeks. Looks like the only one that can take the win away from JT Bryant right now would be that Advocare Ford of James Richardson. Richardson gonna take a look to the inside. Well, not gonna be able to make the move this time. He's not able to really get a good run through the center of the corner like JT Bryant was able to when he was trying to reel in Pichu London for the lead. And the one thing that is not on James Richardson's side is time, because the laps are ticking away. There's 3 to go now as they hit the stripe. JT Bryant, James Richardson, both looking for their first wins of the season. Looks like Richardson got out of the throttle a little bit earlier there to be able to get back into it early, and now he's to the back bumper of the 22. That was a good run through the center of the corner for James Richardson, and now he is there. Now he's just got to stick to the back bumper out of 4 so he can maybe make a move into 1. Let's see if he can stay in touch with JT Bryant. He does. He is right there. He might make a move heading into the corner. 2 to go. Is he going to step out of line? No. Instead, tries to move again. Rolls it through the center of the corner, and that time he had to actually back off to avoid running into the back of JT Bryant. That lost him some momentum. That may be all she wrote. Whoa, they fan out back there. Dylan Poteet, Chris Dowd, as they're still battling tooth and nail for 4th place, trying to get around Rocco Twyman. One last shot for James Richardson as the white flag is displayed. He gets a tremendous run there on JT Bryant. Now he's just got to make it through the corner here. Is he going to try and roll it through the corner? He tries to get up to the back bumper, but he didn't get nearly as good a run as he did a couple laps ago. On the 2 laps to go mark might have been his best opportunity, unless he can step out of line here out of 4. Can Bryant throw the block? It's about half a car length advantage. JT Bryant's got it. Out of the final corner to the line, JT Bryant will become his first win of the season, taking the checkered flag here today at Las Vegas. And Dodge Dart will get their very first win in NNSCRA competition. And JT Bryant came in third in the point standings. This is a tremendous statement right here for the 22 team. I don't know if it would be good enough for them to take the points lead because of Jake Baskinger finishing in 7th, but it'll be close. Race complete, only one caution. That caution coming out for a solo car spin in which everybody was able to avoid and nobody, to my knowledge, sustained any damage. And the car that spun out finished the race in the 18th position. Standings are official. JT Bryant with the win. James Richardson obviously would have loved to have won this race, but this will definitely help him move back into the top 35 in points. Same for Rocco Twyman as he'll get third. Chris Dowd will move away from 35th in points, so he'll have a nice cushion between himself and the knockout qualifying line as he'll finish in 4th. And Pichu London will end up finishing the race in the 5th position. Dylan Poteet, the pole sitter, will get 6th, 7th for the points leader Jake Baskinger. Dylan Young in 8th, so a solid outing for both the drivers out of Young Motorsports. 1st and 8th today. Noah Cars is going to get 9th, and completing your top 10 will be Mason Powers, who came in 4th in the point standings. So 3 of the top 5 in points finished in the top 10 here today. As you look back down through the rest of your finishing results from today's event, Cody Lamas ended up finishing way back. He actually finished 12 seconds back, 3 seconds behind Benjamin Miles. So something must have happened to the 20 late in this race. Not certain what it was, but he has a finishing dead last. And Cody Lamas, who last week moved himself back up into the top 35 in points, might drop back out of the top 35 in points. And of course, 2 drivers that are going to take a solid hit in the points are going to be Ryan Madden and Charles Sanford. They ended up coming into this race 2nd and 5th in the standings, and this is not going to have them in a good situation heading into next week at Atlanta. They are definitely going to drop outside of the top 10 in the point standings. But JT Bryant becomes the 3rd different winner of the season as he takes the checkers here today at Las Vegas. Next week we head to another fast 1.5 mile racetrack, the D-shaped Atlanta Motor Speedway. Hope you guys will be tuning in for that, as we will be bringing you your knockout qualifying from that and everything. We'll now show you the full finish results one more time here, as well as your point standings heading next week at Atlanta. If you enjoyed today's race, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today, and we'll see you guys next time as you've been watching production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.